What the hell is going on, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another video. So if you watched my video that I put out few videos back, it was called 10 reviews in 10 minutes, and it is essentially where I reviewed 10 films in 10 minutes. It's a 10 and 10. I stole that from Moods. I created it, abandoned it, then I brought it back, resurrected it, and I'm actually going to keep it going. But we're going to take it a step up for this video, because this is not a 10 and 10 or 10 reviews in 10 minutes. This is actually going to be 15 reviews in 15 minutes, and it's going to be 15 awesomenesses, I think. Anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, we're going to do 15 in 15 this time, so 15 reviews, 15 minutes, and let's start the clock and let's roll. So first up, I did watch The Evil Dead on VHS. I picked it up at Goodwill and figured, why the F not? The Evil Dead is a film that I've always preferred to its much more popular sequel, Evil Dead 2, because Evil Dead is a horror film. It is definitely a horror film. There is barely any comedy, if any, at all in this film. When you think horror film, bunch of kids in a cabin getting demonically possessed, you should be thinking Evil Dead, because it is a goddamn horror film. And I forgot just how goddamn good The Evil Dead is. It is an amazing movie. And the last time I watched this, I was a little lukewarm on it, and it was, back in like 2013. Turns out I was smoking crack or something, because this movie is fantastic. The camera work, the gore, the acting, the atmosphere, it's just a good movie. It's a good horror movie. So I was actually super blown away with The Evil Dead this time. Glad I revisited it. Nice to see on VHS and that grain and stuff like that. Sometimes the VHS will just set the atmosphere. So glad I picked this up on VHS. It was a good watch. I give The Evil Dead a solid 9 out of 10. Alright, moving on here, we actually have another VHS here, and it is The Dark Crystal. This movie is actually a kid's movie, but I like the cover, I like the green VHS. I seen it at Goodwill for $1, so I said, what the hell, and I grabbed it. So basically about, these two opposing sides who, there's a crystal that, breaks, and this, young hero has to, go on an adventure and get it back so everybody doesn't die and things like that. Actually a little dark and scary, so, Dark Crystal, it's actually pretty dark. I did look a little into it after the film just because I was curious, because I never heard about it. The entire movie is a live-action movie, but there are actually no people in it. It's all animatronics and puppetry and stuff like that. And I just thought that was cool. And the director said that, he doesn't understand why people aren't making movies dark anymore for kids, because kids are supposed to be scared. He doesn't get the concept that kids aren't supposed to be scared. He thinks it's unhealthy. And I thought that was really, really neat. I'm going to go ahead and give this one about a 7 out of 10. It is a little bit dated, but it's still pretty solid. After that, we have Resident Evil Vendetta, coming to us courtesy of Sony Home Entertainment. This is an animated Resident Evil movie. I am a little familiar with the Resident Evil lore. I played the original Resident Evil on PlayStation, the Resident Evil 2, 3, and Code Veronica, as well as 4 and 5. And I have pretty much always been confused about the storyline since about Resident Evil 3. So, this one, I have no idea, I thought some of these characters were dead and stuff. I don't understand where this fits in the timeline, what canon this follows. It was just very confusing to me. I didn't think the animation was overly that good, so I'm just going to give it a 6 out of 10. Honestly, I didn't really dig it that much. I didn't find the story to be that enjoyable either. There's some cool moments, but for being a huge Resident Evil game fan, the original Resident Evil is top 5, top 3 favorite games of all time. That just didn't... It actually kind of looks like the games, the animation, but it just wasn't that great. After that, we have April Fool's Day. This is a slasher that I watched from the 1986 show that was just released for 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. Actually, very, very surprised. I had known the ending going into this film, so I figured that it was going to be stupid, because I always thought that ending was kind of weak. It's kind of a cop-out, but it actually makes pretty damn good sense in this movie. They did a decent job of forcing it to make sense, and I give them props for that, because this type of ending doesn't really lend itself to being, not full of plot holes. So I was actually really, really glad how this one turned out, and it's pretty cool. You know, it's actually not bad. Amy Steele's in it, who is of course from Friday the 13th Part 2, I believe. Anyway, it's really good. I recommend it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Solid slasher. After that, we have a film titled Blackenstein from 1973. This is coming to us courtesy of 7 Films. Now, there are 2 cuts of Blackenstein on this disc, which I thought was pretty cool. I did actually opt out of seeing the director's cut and went with the original theatrical cut. Normally, I will watch the director's cut, but I figured if I ever want to watch it again, I'll watch the director's cut then. I decided to go with the theatrical. It is actually decent. I don't think that it's amazing. I actually like the Blackula movies a little bit better. This is blaxploitation. It has a little bit of like commentary on war veterans and stuff like that, but for the most part, I just thought that it was a little bit weak. Surprisingly, a little bit more gory than I expected, but honestly, you know, the gore didn't look super good. It's more just like you have to kind of use your imagination because it's a little dated effects and stuff. You can see how things are done. So yeah, Blackenstein, it was alright. I give it like probably 6 out of 10. After that, we have Obsessions. This is coming to us courtesy of Cult Epics. I believe it's from 1969, and this movie was decent. It has like a very voyeuristic, sleazy feel to it, especially for 1969. I really like that about it. I actually would like to watch it again because I feel like I might have missed some things. The story is kind of a little bit, it's not told like super smoothly, but you get that a lot of times with these older movies. It actually was written by Martin Scorsese, which is absolutely crazy. That he had anything to do with this film, and it's scored by Bernard Herrmann. A lot of sleaze, like a lot of nudity and stuff like that. Pretty cool watch. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 7.5 out of 10 for now, but I do feel like I need to watch it again. After that, we have Bag Boy Lover Boy coming to us courtesy of 7 Films. And I actually love this movie. This film is from 2014. It got a festival circuit run. As far as I know, this is the first time that it's widely available for us to consume. And I gotta say, guys, you need to check out Bag Boy Lover Boy. If there's one DVD or Blu-ray you need to buy, or VHS, and after watching this video, it's this one. It's a really, I'm counting it for this year's films in terms of top 10 lists, and it's definitely a contender. I had a lot of fun with this. I called it the horror version of Napoleon Dynamite with extra sleaze added on top. Basically, it's about a guy who is very awkward, very weird, and he works at a hot dog stand. Basically, this other guy decides to exploit him, and it just goes crazy after that, man. It's just such a quirky, awkward movie. It's cringeworthy. I'm actually going to do a full review on this, either on the podcast or on the on my YouTube channel, because I liked it that much, and I do think that it needs its fair shake in terms of review. But I really like this. I'm coming in at 8.5 out of 10. I wasn't expecting much, but it turned out really good. The next 2 titles here, we have Warlock and Warlock 2 The Armageddon. So I'm going to go ahead and review both of these for this one. I did not watch Warlock 3. I cannot bring myself to doing that. This is coming to us courtesy of Lionsgate Home Entertainment, aka Vestron. I do have a slipcover. It's just off currently now. It's probably above my head somewhere. Yep, there it is. It's right there. But yeah, so Warlock, we covered it on the podcast, the trilogy. I'm a huge fan of the original Warlock. It basically is about this witch who travels through time, very like Terminator-y vibe, because then this other dude like follows him and he's trying to hunt him down. And then he curses this chick, the witch curses this chick from the 80s, like she's super 80s, and she ages 20 years every day. It's just a really cool movie. So many people give this movie hate, but I love it, dude. I think it's awesome. I love the setting. I think the story is actually pretty good. And there's a scene in this movie that always like shocks me. It basically involves like the death of a child, and I'm just like, what the hell? You know, it just doesn't seem like this type of movie, you know, this this movie would have something like that, especially in the detail in which it happens. You know, you don't see it, it's off screen, but the detail in what actually happened to the kid is quite horrific. Then you have Warlock, the Armageddon, which is the second Warlock film, and that one came out, I believe, in 1992 or 93 actually. The first one was 1989, 88. Warlock 2, the Armageddon, it's much more like fantasy. There's like these gemstones, and it's like witch versus witch, and like, or warlock versus like witch, or they're druids in the second one. There's like a love story thrown in. It's not as good. The effects are dated and kind of bad, but I still rather like the movie. I think that it's pretty enjoyable. It runs a little bit long at like an hour and 39 minutes, hour and 30 minutes, somewhere around there. It just feels like it's a little bit longer than it should. It should have been like, you know, an hour and 20 minutes or something like that. But yeah, it's not bad. I'm not going to watch Warlock 3, at least not until I cover it on the podcast, the Vestron video podcast, that is, just because it's a very bad movie. But pretty solid release from Vestron. You know, I'm happy that these films are on Blu-ray, especially the original Warlock, because I'll actually revisit that one quite a bit, because I really like that movie. But yeah, so I recommend it. A lot of special features on there. I'll talk more about it at another time, of course, but yeah, Warlock Collection, Warlock 1 and 2. After that, we have, I gave Warlock 2 a 6.5, by the way. After that, we have Future Shock, the story of 20 AD. This is coming to us courtesy of Severin Films, and it was a 2014 documentary about Future Shock, which is a comic out of the UK. I didn't know much about Future Shock going into this. I'm not a huge comic fan. I don't read a ton of comics, so I really wasn't, you know, too interested in this. But it ended up being really cool. I'm still not going to go out and be like a huge comic fan or anything like that, but it was definitely very intriguing. I think the biggest thing that I took away from it is that if we think the movie industry is shady and the, you know, players, filmmakers involved, actors and stuff get the shaft in that industry, you should watch this documentary, because like the comic industry, these guys are getting screwed. Like, there was one thing where they said that basically on the checks that they were getting for, you know, illustrating the comics and writing the comics, there was fine print that said, if you cash this check, you're basically handing over the rights to us, being the distributor, the company, the owner of the comic. And it's just like, holy crap, there was some super shady stuff going on. Still a lot of it goes on today. But I give Future Shock like a 7 out of 10. After that, we have Deathline, and this one's coming to us courtesy of Blue Underground. This is a film also known as Raw Meat. It takes place in a subway. Scotland Yard is looking for people disappearing in the subway. Here it's like a cannibal family down in the subway that's like closed off. It was okay. I honestly didn't like it as much as I thought I would. I'd wanted to see it for a really long time, and I just found it kind of dry. It came out in 1972. It just didn't hold my interest as much as I would have hoped. The stuff with the cannibals is great, dude. Like, it's actually creepy and scary, and like, it's nasty down there. They got these dead bodies everywhere. It's actually, you know, kind of shocking looking, at least. But then you go back to like Donald Pleasance in the Scotland Yard, and it's just kind of boring. And I've never seen a performance from Donald Pleasance where I was bored. But this is the movie, so yeah, Deathline. I came in at about a 6 out of 10 on that one. After that, we have Terminal Island, which is a movie from, I believe, like 1973, and it basically follows a bunch of criminals who are on death row who are put on an island, and it's like, you know, live there, cohabitate there, and it kind of gets a little Lord of the Flies-ish. I expected it to be like more of like, you know, Battle Royale style, but it's really not like that. It's just like these two factions kind of separate, and then, you know, they have trouble with each other. Like, one is like a womanizer, like abuser of women and stuff like that. But there's like a funny scene where this dude gets honey smeared on his peep, and then bees attack him, which was pretty cool. I think I gave this one like a 6 out of 10 as well. After that, we have Evil Ed coming to us courtesy of Arrow Video. And this movie is about a film editor who's watching these terrible exploitive horror movies called the Loose Limbs films, and there's like a bunch of them, like Loose Limbs 7, Limbs Roll, or something like that, you know what I mean? And he's editing these films, and he's beginning to go crazy because violence creates violence, and violence creates violence, and violence creates violence, and stuff like that. There's some social commentary. It's actually quite a, you know, smart, like, satire. There's a really funny scene where he's like, "Did you cut out my beaver rape scene?" He's like, "Never cut out a beaver rape scene." It's, you know, really ridiculous. But yeah, I can see why people wanted this on Blu-ray. It never hit disc for, you know, it hit disc and went out of print really quick and is really hard to find. But I can see why people wanted this film on Blu-ray. But yeah, it's decent. It's decent. It's not the greatest movie in the world. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. But it's kind of smart in its satirical ways. After that, we have Madhouse here from Arrow Video as well, and this one, I actually own this on DVD, and I didn't like it when I seen it the first time, and I honestly didn't like it that much this time either. It's okay. There's like some stuff with a killer dog that's really decent, but it's kind of boring, honestly. It's like there's this girl and her sister disappears, and she believes her sister's like out to get her and stuff like that. It has its moments. It's okay, but I just find it pretty boring. And finally, for this last one here, the 15th film, guys, we have The Bird with the Crystal Plumage coming to us courtesy of Arrow Video. And The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is one of my favorite Argentos. I've seen it before. This is my second time viewing it. I'm going to go ahead and bump my rating from what it used to be, because I do think that this movie is really cool. There's just one major problem I have with it, and it's the ending. The ending is actually a cheat, because the reveal, what we see in the reveal, does not reflect a certain scene at the beginning of the movie. It just doesn't. You can go back and watch that scene, and that is not what happened. So it's actually like a completely different scene. It's a cheat. So I have beef with that. But besides that, I love the score in this movie. I love the mystery, and you know, I even like the twist, even though it's kind of a cheat. It's solid. So looks great on Blu-ray. Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Argento, man. I'm becoming a huge fan. So that is it for this part, guys. Or this video, guys. I'm used to doing my shelf by shelves. 15 reviews in 15 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed.